Subtext, analysis, media literacy. You've probably heard one of these terms bandied about somewhere, or at least one of the outlandish readings are often used to justify. So, is subtext real? Are these bad takes that can be shot down with a simple application of common sense merely misuses of subtextual analysis? Or is subtext just a made-up word that weird people use to talk about how their favorite children's show just happens to echo their favorite talking point? I know that sounds absurdly specific, but sadly, it's not. It's not. It's really, really, really not. But don't you worry. I'll tell you the answer, so you don't have to do any of that pesky thinking. So what is subtext? It shares a root word with subtle, and from context it's obviously being used to refer to a hidden meaning not explicitly laid out in the text. But how not explicitly laid out are we talking here? Are we talking about things artfully implied through their absence, since the rule of writing is to show and not tell? Or are we talking about something that has literally no mention in the text, and is only brought up through parallels to references whose themes are then projected onto the original work? Like Home Alone is clearly not the Communist Manifesto, but they both have relatively rich and relatively poor people, and there's clearly a connection that you two sheeple are just too stupid to understand. Personal digression time. Do you know that fallacious thing I just mentioned? Yeah, about linking the messages from multiple works together, looking for parallels. I love doing it. It is so much fun, and it's also just kind of funny to really dig deep into shallow media and put together something, well, something. You should try it sometime. I'm actually cooking something up with Spider-Verse 2 about my two favorite characters, and Miles, I guess. So subscribe if you want to see that. Given that I have admitted that, what actually is the difference between me and the Home Alone guy? Me, I am self-aware enough that I don't think for a second that Phil Lord and Chris Miller actually agree with my creative interpretation of their work, which, I mean, if you see my favorite characters, you already know my opinions are going to differ from theirs. But that happens to bring us to the death of the author, aka the belief that once a work is published, the author's intended message has no more bearing other than that of a fan. Unfortunately, that is a blatant misunderstanding of what it is an author actually does. Literally everything in a work is intentional. No exaggeration, literally everything. Don't talk to me about the curtains just being blue, because if the curtains were just blue, then why did the author bother to mention them at all? Maybe the story's about curtains, or maybe the author was bad at writing and thought it would mean something else. But that still answers the question, even if it's not a satisfying answer. Right, we were talking about authors. If everything is intentionally constructed, then there can't be a way all analyses are going to be equal to that of the authors, even to each other. So it all comes down to the truth, in the end. Try as people deny it, an objective, undeniable truth does exist. And a big reason children's media is a common victim of this kind of thing is because its themes are going to be intentionally broadened and widened so they can be understood by their young developing audience. And then you can apply those purposefully general themes to just about anything you can think of. I myself have done a lot of that in my day. So if you take away anything from this video, the truth does have value, and obscuring it, even from yourself, only hurts yourself and anyone who has the misfortune of listening to you. Don't lie for internet points. That's what I'm saying.